What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Ohio Cannabis Report YouTube family? Gerald Moore Jr. checking in, aka G Money, aka G Mo, aka the founder of Ohio Cannabis Report. I'm just getting some things situated here. I want to thank you guys for the support. I want to thank you guys for all the comments, the follows on all of our platforms. Just got back home from the State House and wanted to upload this because I didn't get a chance to do it. And so I'm just going to let this run. But this was today's hearing at the Ohio House Judiciary Committee for 4/30/2025. Let us know what you think.
Chair Thomas.
Here.
Ranking Member Isaacson.
Here.
Representative Callender. Representative Muhammad.
I'm going to speed it up.
Representative Odioso. Here. Representative Olslager. Here. Representative Plummer. Here. Representative Stewart. Here. Representative Swearingen. Here. Representative Sinnenberg. Here. Representative Williams.
Here. We have a quorum present and we'll continue as a full committee. The minutes from the previous meeting are on your pads. Please review the minutes. Are there any objections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. All the supporting documents and testimony today can be found on pads. If the public wishes to be informed about upcoming hearings, please visit the Judiciary Committee website at ohiohouse.gov and sign up to be on the distribution list. I would now like to call up House Bill 47 for its third hearing. There's one written only testimony on your iPads for your consideration. And I'd like to call Representative Josh Williams for a motion.
Chair Thomas, I move to amend House Bill 47 with amendment number 0400.
The amendment can be found on your iPads. The amendment is in order. Please can you speak to the amendment?
Thank you, Chairman. In regards to some of the concerns that were raised in committee, we did amend, we're moving to amend the bill to change the mental state, the mens rea required from reckless back to knowing, which is in the original law, and to restore the age of the victim from 13 to 18.
Thank you. The question is, shall the motion be agreed to?
That he alleges that he acted in self-defense. The defendant may elect to have a pretrial hearing in which he will have the ability to lay out a case for self-defense based on the circumstances. If the defendant proves with a preponderance of evidence that he acted in self-defense, then the court will grant a rebuttable presumption to the defendant that to the court during the trial.
Can you speak to how this interacts with our stand your ground laws and whether it's sort of totally distinct as a company?
And that's what this bill. So the state of Ohio, higher burden than pretrial hearing we could do, and you could
may have the conviction expunged upon application to the court. Funding is not currently included in that as the Senate intends to consider revenue in the budget. In short, the bill is about government efficiency, local law enforcement to investigate, already been granted to. Chair Thomas, members of the House Judiciary, thank you for giving me the opportunity for responsive testimony to Senate Bill 56, which seeks to streamline the administration of Ohio marijuana programs and address several public safety concerns. Many of the provisions in the bill may look familiar, as they are largely reflective of what's passed in House Bill 86 last General Assembly. First, voters recently established with the passage of Issue 2. Consolidating both programs under the division will allow for consistent requirements regarding testing, packaging, labeling, advertising, especially those related to protect children. It also standards and general compliance procedures, cutting down on bureaucracy, red tape, and government waste. It is important to note the bill ensures those entities who were issued licenses under Issue 2 maintain their licenses, as many have already been granted and are operational. The bill several public safety concerns, such as banning public smoking, prohibiting driving while the driver or any passenger, ensuring homegrown marijuana is not grown at residents that operated in-home daycare program. Senate Bill 56 home growth, it sets a more reasonable limitation of 6 plants per household. Further, the bill clarifies the ability of local law enforcement to investigate alleged violation and harmonize employer protection regarding drug-free workplace policies. Unlike the as introduced version of the bill passed, the version would keep the exercise tax on marijuana at 10%. To me, that is something to be discussed during the budget, but would be happy to have further discussion here. In 86, that is now legal under Issue 2, Senate Bill 50, have the conviction expunged upon application to the court. Funding is not currently to consider revenue in the budget. In short, the bill is maintaining access to voter. I think this bill is kind of the same thing, the theme on it, and to clean some things up in the nice things to make it a better system. So I'm happy.
Representative Callender's question.
Thank you.
Sure he does.
a few hours of discussions on this over. Just, I appreciate the time spent and the dozens, if not hundreds of hours. There are two specific things I want to ask about it.
My internet been acting up. What is you doing, bro? What is you doing?
The first one is on the tax side, the change of the distribution of funds, specifically the local government. I know a lot of our townships and municipalities have been calling. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a key thing in the bill for you, or?
Chairman, the representative, for myself, it's something that we need to get right. Initially, it was all going to the General Revenue Fund, and the Senate was going to discuss it. The sub-bill put it back as issue 2 passed it. I do think at some point in the budget or in this bill, we need to address that. And I know that there's other, 5 years at 20%. Should it be 36? One thing after I introduced it, it was going to the General Revenue Fund. Myself and many people in General Assembly have heard from the locals that this would be unfair because they agreed to have the dispensary because they agreed. They feel there was going to be some negative, but the money was going to help them to build a park or do other things. So it is further discussion. I don't really have a decision, but we need to honor that and for how much and how long is to be
everybody that's smokes weed know what weed is, bro. Like most
Senate
people that's consuming just weed, we ain't gonna say all
thank you. The second of my three question is the number of licenses to be issued and the different sizes. It looked to me in reading the way it came out of the Senate that this eliminates the voter approved level 3s and some of the new distribution sites as well, and limits it to a number not a whole lot greater than what's already been issued. And I think I have a couple of concerns there I'd like you to address. And one of the big ones is for the consumer, the pricing. Obviously, supply and demand works in this as in any industry. And if you limit the supply by not issuing the voter approved licenses, extensions, dealing with some of our processors now that this will take away the potential for them to get a supply by having a small grow site, the level 3s or something similar. Do you have some concerns about that economically, that will continue to have folks drive up to Michigan or New York because of the price differential?
Chairman, to the representative, absolutely. Not in this bill, but I believe in several years, next General Assembly, the one after that, I think we should totally deregulate marijuana in the state of Ohio, in the sense that we should not have, if we're capitalists, we should let other people have more grow space with, if they can do it under the current regulations with the number of cameras, the number of security, and all that stuff.
If we're capitalists,
which would drive down the price. So I don't believe that we're going to have that in this General Assembly, but I believe in the future, once the return on equity to the large price, the current cultivators and other people in the process, because if you can grow it better, then good for you, and that's what we should buy. Or if you can have a better dispensary, that should, we don't limit the number of grocery stores or the number of Krogers or anything like that. Certainly not the number of gas stations in the state of Ohio. The last would certainly look at that, but directly to your question, I know eliminated what would be new would be the level 3, which is a very small growth. The thought process there was it would be very difficult for a 3,000 square foot cultivator to compete against 10 or 12 that are going at 100,000 square feet. Maybe they do have a niche market. Maybe there's some analogies to craft
we
brewer,
need
but
small
that was going
cultivators.
to kind of
Everybody
be
wants to be a big ass behemoth.
and expensive.
People want craft grow.
Thank you.
I don't want
Thank you.
a
Mr.
fucking
Chairman, the final
Walmart. You
question
got
is,
Walmart weed,
I really appreciate
and you
the
got
open market.
fucking Trader Joe's weed.
That's what the voters were kind of thinking when they voted that legalization means legalization.
Whole Foods.
Are you okay working, and I assume you are working with Representative Stewart, having the House bill, or choosing one of the bills as a vehicle, working with the other chamber to get something that's mutually agreeable?
I'd be very open to working with Representative Stewart. If this is the vehicle, his is the vehicle. I just believe the important thing is that we get something done by July 1st. And I think that looking at what he has,
leave it alone.
And I don't believe that things are very far apart. I think that that can be done. And if I may, Chairman, address another topic is the Senate decided to do this in 2 parts. Today we will vote out Senate Bill 86, my bill for hemp. Very similar topics, yet very complex and different. We chose to do 2 different bills. Representative Stewart has a bill where they're combined. I don't believe there's a right way or a wrong way to do it. If the House comes back and says, we're going to put it all together, and here it is, I won't disagree with that. I just, again, I also think, would tell you, in my opinion, hemp is the more important topic, just because there's no regulation. Bad things are happening to kids with hemp. And so if they both come together in some way, I wouldn't disagree with that.
What kids? I haven't heard it.
Representative Isaacson.
If they are.
Thank you, Chair. Senator, thank you so much for your testimony today. I just want to start trying to get a sense of sort of the impetus behind the bill, because it was initially introduced, or the bill like this, right after the voters voted on issue 2. And so can you just give a sense, as the sponsor of this bill, what do you think primarily voters were voting on? What did they think they were voting on when they voted overwhelmingly for issue 2? What were the core components that they went to the ballot for in your view?
Chairman, to the representative, we'll never know that. But I think, some voted for homegrown, some, for the recreational and other things, but we'll never know exactly what it is, because, I'm sure things that people voted for looked in there and said, well, I don't like these couple things, but I like this. So it's difficult, my opinion. Better. And I think in the long run, my personal opinion, the average recreational marijuana use in this bill or Representative Stewart's bill really doesn't do much to change. But I think there's a lot of positive in combining the two, the bureaucracy and the decreasing regulations to make it easier for people, which hopefully will decrease
The social equity program. You take away.
Thank you. Would it be fair to say that the voters were voting to legalize the recreational use of cannabis and marijuana?
Yes, sir.
I apologize. Okay, so I agree. I think that is at its basic.
You know how I know that's my guy? That's my guy.
They were voting on. So I have a
About
few
to
questions
get
about the
him on the
rationale and
show,
the thinking
too.
behind some of these criminal changes and the penalty changes. Am I understanding you correctly that if someone were to
You make that
pass
move.
a joint or a gummy or something to someone else to use recreationally, that would then, under this bill, shift the law back to making that criminal?
I believe so.
Okay. Yes, please. And is it accurate that if someone is a passenger in a non-moving vehicle and they eat a gummy as the passenger of that non-moving vehicle, they would then be subject to 3 days mandatory jail time?
I would have to look deep into that, Chairman. I can't remember if it says combustion or consumption. So I'm not evading the question. If you can correct me, I'm not sure.
Let's say they're smoking a joint.
Well, yes. Then the answer is yes. That would be illegal.
So I guess what I'm trying to understand from your perspective is if the voters, as you noted, clearly voted to legalize the recreational use of marijuana, how does recriminalizing things like passing a joint or sitting on the side of a car, recreational use of marijuana? How does recriminalizing things like passing a joint or sitting on the side legal? Smoking a joint. How does that jive with respecting the will of the voters to vote to legalize the recreational use when it is recriminalizing some of the most fundamental uses or the most common uses of cannabis? Just how are you thinking about those two kind of conflicting realities?
Through the chairman, I guess in the same sense that, take that to extreme, then I should smoke a joint here, right here in the chamber.
Yes.
I don't think that's what the people actually would want, because that the extent of the bill is to try to be reasonable. And I understand that difference of opinion of what reasonable and safe for everybody is.
Representative
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for all your work on this bill. Part of how I introduced the House version is watching your hard work on this over a number of years. And I want to thank you publicly for that work. On the issue of the tax rate, I think it's important to note that it's my understanding that the Department of Taxation has come out and said, look, there's kind of a drafting flaw in issue 2 where there's no real authorizing language for any of this 36% of tax revenue to actually get to the locals. And so they're not receiving it today. That might be an argument. There's pros and cons to initiated statutes, but that might be one of them. And so is it your in the sense understanding one of these bills that would increase, 20% is obviously more than zero. Current practice today is the municipalities, they're getting zero unless we do something in this bill. Is that your understanding as well?
Chairman of the representative, absolutely. And I'm not sure if that wasn't on purpose, that the writers of this bill said did not give an avenue to distribute the funds. It's currently sitting or any bill, is going to have to do that to distribute the funds in the future.
Hemp, but as you said, you've kind of got two bills kind of on the same topic. You know, I wasn't here in 2018, but I've gone to some of that debate. And what seems to have occurred is we have hemp farmers, you know, this problem to aid. Now the argument be driven. But you're
the stream because I don't know what's going on with it right now, but I'm gonna put this up so y'all can have this little bit. Let me know what y'all think, and then I'm gonna come back later on today and we'll restream it because they hating on your boy. Cause hey, this new media, I'm telling you, new media. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow.
Because the original hemp bill was my
do all the shit y'all be doing on the
2018
social media.
with Senator Hill. And
I'm not really a social media person. Like I don't really call myself like no influencer. Like I'm not influencing shit. Don't listen to me. Do your research, do your due diligence, make your own choices and decisions. I make choices for me. I have a family. I have to protect my family. But at the end of the day, I'm a black man. My family, they fucking choices and decisions at times too, right? So again, I understand what's at play. I've been consuming cannabis since I was 16 years old. It was bad then. It was negative then. It was nowhere. I'm 35 now. We were nowhere close back then. Get caught, you drug dealer need to go get. I had friends whose parents made them go get help. Washington, D.C. Parents are federal government. Everybody's this, everybody that. You play sports, so you got pressure for that. Go to the school has high pressure. You're already talking about college, freshman year. What college you going to go to? Everybody's, oh my God, so much pressure. God forbid you smoke a little weed. You know what I mean? To calm your nervous system. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have the ADHD, all of this, you know, people on Adderall and all types of stuff. Give me a little treat up. So is adult use, recreational, medical. I have a medical card. I have a medical condition. I was recommended by my black female doctor. Shout out to Dr. Bridget Williams. Dr. Arthur Williams here. Make sure y'all go cop. Let me turn my make sure y'all go cop the turn my background on. Courage Volume 2. There we go. I'm a featured author in here as well. Yeah, so this book is on Amazon. If you want to get it directly from me, just hit me up in the comments. I think it's like $15, $20. I'll autograph it though. If you order it from me directly, I'll sign it. But yeah, check it out. It's a anthology. It's a bunch of different stories, about 20 different stories. But yeah, so you know, I'm all in for cannabis. I'm a father. You know what I mean. My kids have never gotten into my gummies. My kids have never gotten my vape pen. They've never took a joint. You know what I mean. They've never gotten and like my kids know better. You know what I mean. My children in mommy's medicine if mommy chooses to partake. But this for adults. You know what I mean? And I do believe there are uses for children that have been diagnosed with, you know, forms of illnesses and diseases. You have RSO, but that's why I think it's we show grace and empathy, right, with this plant, people, with humans. You know, we'll send people to the doctor and prescribe them anything. We don't know. They came out with a new drug yesterday. We don't know the long, but on the commercial, it could say you're gonna lose, you know, you could lose your life. We not liable for that. You know what I mean? You could lose this, you could lose that. What you losing? I smoke a little mental, bro. But make sure I check that out. Make sure I follow us on YouTube. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the notification bell. Like, comment, share. Yeah, support, man. Our donations would be good. Environmental outreach. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. If you donate to that, it supports this cause as well, because as the president, I kind of lead that operation. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Threads, X, Facebook. You know, we pretty much trying to get everywhere. So we just getting started though. G13 Media, Ohio Cannabis Media, about to turn it up. So thanks for the support. Peace and love. I'm logging out. Peace.